Hello, I'm Tom Wilkinson, and welcome to the Thinking in English podcast, a podcast for intermediate to advanced level English learners. The 2024 Paris Olympic Games will start on July 26th, and for the first time, breaking will be included as an official sport. Breaking, a form of competitive street dance, may not be exactly what you imagine when you think of the Olympics. So today, I want to take a look at how breaking evolved alongside hip-hop music on the streets of New York City, and then discuss how it ended up being selected as an Olympic discipline. At the same time, we'll learn some very useful Olympic and breaking related vocabulary so you can enjoy watching the sport this summer. You can find a full transcript for this episode for free on my blog and also on Spotify. Here is today's vocabulary list. Acrobatic. Acrobatic. Relating to or involving spectacular gymnastic feats. For example, the dancer's acrobatic performance included a series of impressive flips and spins. Break. Break. In music, a break is a brief instrumental section within a song where the vocals are absent, and it's often used for dancing. As in, during the break in the song, the DJ extended the instrumental section to keep the dancers moving. Hip-hop, a genre of popular music also known as rap. For instance, hip-hop emerged in the 1970s in the Bronx and has since become a global cultural phenomenon. Discipline. Discipline. In sports, discipline is a specific category or field of competition. As in, breaking, also known as breakdancing, is now recognized as an official discipline in the Olympic Games. Mainstream. Mainstream. The ideas, attitudes, or activities that are regarded as normal or conventional, belonging to the dominant trend in opinion, fashion, or art. As in, what started as a subculture in the Bronx eventually became mainstream, influencing music, fashion, and dance worldwide. Musicality. Musicality. Sensitivity to, knowledge of, or talent for music, or the quality of being musical. As in, the breaker's musicality was evident in how he performed his movements. Agility. Agility. The ability to move quickly and easily. As in, the gymnast's routine showcased her incredible agility as she transitioned from one complex movement to another. The Olympic Games, the world's largest and most famous international sports competition, is being held this summer in Paris. It is 100 years since Paris last held the Summer Olympics, and in that time, a lot has changed in society, in culture, and in the world of sports. Many of the sports included in the 1924 Paris Olympics are still mainstays of the modern Olympic schedule. Athletics, swimming, cycling, boxing, sailing, wrestling, and more are all still featured in the Olympics. In fact, I believe the only sport no longer in the Olympics that was included in 1924 is polo, not water polo. Polo is a ball game played on horses and one of the oldest team sports still played today. However, polo has not been an Olympic sport since 1936. If we look at the sports included in the 2024 Olympics, we will see a lot of things that were not featured in 1924, including sports that had not even been invented 100 years ago. Surfing, skateboarding, speed climbing, BMX racing, and various martial arts have all been added to the games relatively recently. These sports have been added to appeal to a wider range of people across age groups, nationalities, and cultures. Paris 2024 is introducing two completely or kind of new sports. One is kayak cross, which is a kind of team race using kayaks, but kayaking has been part of the Olympics for a while. The other is breaking, better known to most people as break dancing, but that's not the actual name of the sport. It's breaking. When I first heard that breaking or break dancing had been selected as a new Olympic sport, I had a few different questions running through my head. Is that a sport? They have break dancing competitions. How do they judge the winner? Is it popular enough to be part of the Olympics? I thought it was an art form, like most dances, rather than a sport performed by athletes. Today, I want to look at how breakdancing became an Olympic sport. How did a form of dance, invented on the streets of New York City in the 1970s, find its way into the most prestigious sporting competition on the planet? The first thing I should do is define and explain breaking. The sport's official name is breaking, not breakdancing. Apparently, breakdancing is a name used by outsiders, while to the practitioners, performers, and competitors, it has always been known as breaking. Breaking is a dynamic and acrobatic style of street dance that emerged in the early 1970s. This dance form is an integral part of hip-hop culture and is known for its unique combination of athleticism, rhythm, and artistic expression. There are a few key characteristics of breaking. The first characteristic is acrobatic movements. Breaking involves a variety of physically demanding moves that require strength, agility, and precision. These moves often include spins, flips, and other things that you would also see in a gymnastics performance. Some of the most iconic acrobatic moves in breaking include head spins, windmills, and flares. The second characteristic of the discipline would be the intricate and stylized footwork, often performed in both a standing position and a grounded position on the floor. This footwork is referred to as top rock when performed while standing and down rock while performed on the floor. The transition between these positions showcases a breaker's versatility and skill. Third, a fundamental aspect of breaking is its connection to music, specifically the beats and rhythms created by a DJ. During breaking battles, the DJ plays a crucial role by spinning tracks that set the tempo and mood for the dancers. The MC, the Master of Ceremonies, enhances the atmosphere by hyping up the crowd and interacting with the dancers, adding to the competitive spirit of the event. Now, to understand the Olympic discipline of breaking, you probably need to understand some new terminology, some new words. B-boys and B-girls. These terms refer to male and female breakers, respectively. The B stands for break. Battles. Battles are competitive encounters where breakers face off against each other, showcasing their skills in an improvisational and often confrontational manner. Judges or the audience determine the winner based on various criteria, including creativity, execution, and overall impact. Top rock. The upright standing movements and steps that breakers perform before transitioning to floor work. Top rock sets the stage for more acrobatic elements of a breaker's routine. Down rock. The movements performed on the ground, which include intricate footwork and body maneuvers. Down rock is essential for showcasing a breaker's control and style. Power moves. These are the highly athletic and visually impressive moves that involve spins, flips, and other dynamic actions. Power moves often serve as the climactic points in a breaker's performance. Freezes. Moments in a breaker's routine where they hold a specific position. They freeze, often balancing on their hands or their head. Freezes demonstrate strength, control, and the ability to maintain balance in challenging poses. Breaking is now about to make its Olympic debut. If you had told someone 10 or 15 years ago that it would be in a future Olympics, they would probably not believe you. In fact, the sport didn't exist until recently, and breaking in general was only invented in the 1970s. Let's take a deeper look at how it evolved from the streets of New York. The Bronx, one of the boroughs of New York City, was an interesting place in the 1970s. It was experiencing economic decline and hardship. The industrial jobs that had once been dominant disappeared, leading to widespread unemployment. There was a housing crisis. House conditions were poor, and many landlords actually set their buildings and their houses on fire to collect insurance money, further worsening the housing crisis. The post-war period saw many middle-class families, particularly white families, moving to the suburbs. This became known as the White Flight, and left behind poorer residents, predominantly African American and Hispanic communities, who faced increased segregation and a lack of investment. Against this background and these challenging conditions, the Bronx developed a unique culture and arts scene. Most famously and importantly, the Bronx was the birthplace of hip-hop in the 1970s. DJ Kool Herc is widely credited with creating the genre of hip-hop music by extending the instrumental breaks of songs to create a continuous beat that dancers could move to. Kool Herc noticed that at the parties he hosted, the people dancing became most active and excited during the instrumental breaks of songs. He used 2 turntables, allowing him to loop sections of records and extend those instrumental breaks, forming the basis of modern DJing and creating continuous beats that kept people dancing. Following Kool Herc, other influential DJs such as Grandmaster Flash and Afrika Bambaataa introduced new techniques like scratching and cutting, which became fundamental elements of hip-hop. The role of the MC, or Master of Ceremonies, also evolved at the same time. They added lyrics or words to the new beats, and ultimately developed one of the most popular styles of music in the world, rap and hip-hop. Alongside hip-hop music, breaking, or breakdancing or b-boying, emerged as a vibrant dance style. It combined elements of gymnastics and dance and was performed, often improvised, to the beats created by hip-hop DJs. Early breaking was performed by dance crews, close groups of friends who would practice together and develop new moves. These crews would then compete against each other in battles. In these battles, dancers would face off with each other, showcasing their best moves and their skill at improvising. The goal was to show more skill, creativity, agility, and musicality than your opponents, while also engaging the audience and fellow dancers. And they usually wouldn't know the music before dancing. By the late 1970s and the early 1980s, breaking began to become better known and more visible. It was featured in documentaries and major films like Flashdance, which brought breaking into the mainstream. By the mid-1980s, there were local and international breaking competitions, and the dance style was on the way to becoming a global phenomenon. However, popularity led to commercialization, major companies and brands getting involved, which took away from breaking's origins as a street dance. While the popularity of breaking ebbed and flowed, meaning went up and down, B-boys and B-girls continued to practice and develop their skills. So now we know a little more about the history of breaking, but how did this form of competitive street dance become an Olympic sport? The story of this begins not with breaking, but with an organisation called International Dance Sport. The International Olympic Committee recognised this organisation, International Dance Sport, as the official organisation for all dance disciplines in 1997. It represented ballroom dancing and tried to get ballroom dancing accepted as an Olympic sport. After failing, they rebranded to the World Dance Sport Federation, the WDSF, and in 2015 contracted an expert to help get some form of dance into the Olympics. The expert decided that there was one type of dance that could potentially become an Olympic competition: breaking. The problem, however, was that the World Dance Sport Federation had no connection with the majority of breaking competitions or performers or athletes. Despite this, they began an effort to get breaking into an official Olympic competition. They moved the headquarters of their organisation to Switzerland and campaigned for breaking to be a featured sport at the 2018 Summer Youth Olympics in Argentina. The breaking community was divided over this. Sports like skateboarding, surfing, and now breaking have all struggled with the change from alternative lifestyle hobby to mainstream sports competition. These sports are all now Olympic disciplines and need official organisations and rules, but their origins and their members are often opposed to organised events, mainstream activities, organisations, or even rules sometimes. There was actually a protest against the WDSF organised by breakers who accused the International Dance Organisation of trying to steal their discipline, trying to steal their culture. Regardless, the WDSF continued anyway. They worked with parts of the breaking communities to establish, for the first time, a universal set of rules and guidelines for how the competition should be judged. They also focused on the discipline's strengths. It appealed to a younger audience and a new audience. It was inexpensive to host. It doesn't require large stadiums or arenas to be built. And it had the chance to go viral online. During those 2018 Youth Olympics, thousands of people attended breaking competitions in person. But more importantly, breaking had achieved the largest social media numbers and social media impressions out of all sports during the event. This clearly impressed the Olympic Committee and the organisers of Paris 2024, who quickly selected breaking as a new sport in the 2024 Olympics. This is amazing, considering how quickly the discipline went from being completely outside of mainstream sport to the Olympics. While many breakers are still concerned at being organised under the WDSF, an organisation that traditionally doesn't cover breakdancing, their discipline will be on the world stage like never before. However, breaking's inclusion has still puzzled many people, including many breakers themselves. Why? Not everyone is convinced that breaking is a sport. Critics, and sometimes breakers themselves, argue that breaking with its emphasis on creativity and expression, aligns more closely with artistic disciplines. It's a type of dance. On the other hand, it isn't actually that different from some long-established Olympic sports. Figure skating at the Winter Olympics is basically a combination of dance and gymnastics on ice. Gymnastics itself, especially rhythmic gymnastics, involves a lot of dance. Synchronized swimming is an artistic swimming discipline with music. Like breaking, these sports combine dance and athleticism. Like breaking, they include music and costumes. Like breaking, they are judged on creativity, musicality, technique, skill, and athleticism. They are all quite similar, really. We've covered how breaking went from the streets of New York to the Paris Olympics, but what will the Olympic breaking competition actually look like? The inaugural events will be held on August 9th and 10th. In Paris, there will be 2 breaking competitions, one for men and one for women. 16 B-boys and 16 B-girls will compete in solo breaking battles to eventually discover the champions. A total of 9 judges will be used to score the performers on a mix of musicality, performance skill, technique, variety of moves, personality, and creativity. There are some things that will make breaking unique amongst all Olympic sports. Most obviously, it will be the only sport in which the judges also perform and demonstrate their skills at breaking. Before a breaking competition, the judges perform. They perform a showcase. I'm definitely curious to see breaking in the Olympics and to see how it works in practice. There has been some debate over whether its inclusion in the Olympics is a good or bad thing, but ultimately, seeing top athletes perform spectacular routines will always be exciting. And if you are interested in watching breaking at the Olympics, make sure to do it this summer. It will not be included in 2028, and there is no guarantee that it will ever return in the future. This could be your first and last chance to see Olympic breaking. So here is today's final thought. Today I wanted to talk about how breaking or breakdancing evolved from the streets of New York to the 2024 Paris Olympics. We started by looking at what breaking is and a few words that would be useful to understand the new Olympic sport. We then discussed the 1970s in the Bronx and how conditions in New York led to the creation of hip-hop, rap, and breaking. Following this, we traced breaking's development and discussed how it became an Olympic sport. There is still debate and a little bit of controversy over breaking. Is it a sport or an art form? Are breakers athletes or performers? How can you accurately judge a dance battle? Should it be an Olympic sport? What do you think? Let me know by leaving a comment. Comment on Spotify, a comment on the Thinking in English transcript on my blog, the link's in the description, or reach out to me on social media or on Patreon or on Discord. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode, and I'll speak to you next time. Goodbye.